The U.S. Federal Reserve has left rates on hold while the U.S. saw an inverted treasury yield curve for the first time in 12 years. These are fanning speculation that the global economy might be facing a recession. For more analysis on Washington's recent monetary policy and its impact on South Korea, Professor Shin Sang-hyup of Pan-Pacific Int'l Studies at Kyung Hee University now joins us in the studio. Good to have you with us.
Thank you.
So, U.S. Treasury yield showed an inverted curve for the first time since 2007, with long-term rates falling below short-term rates.
Right.
And this has led Asian shares decline from 1% to 3%. What does this mean, and why is it such an important factor in diagnosing the U.S. and the global economy?
Yes. We call it R signal. R stands for recession. When the R signal we said that the uncertainty of the economy in the future is rising. That means economy has the psychological aspects. So if our signal comes out, consumers do not spend the money, and then the industries are refraining themselves from making further investment. That means that it became the beginning of the vicious circle. So when the economies have the R signal, in most cases, it resulted in the economic recession, really. In case of the USA, since the end of World War II, they have had 12 times R signals. In most cases, the R signal actually were realized as the economic recession. But any academics have proven this kind of relations. That means that the R signal always resulted in the economic recession. This time, the R signal, I think, this is related to the USA government policy. Very recently, the Federal Reserve, which is central bank of the USA, decided to fix the interest rate. But until the end of November, they emphasized that they are going to increase the interest rates.
Right.
Because of that, people was get confused, and then the new decision made by the Federal Reserve in the USA was understood as a kind of threat to the economy in the USA. I think this can be one of the major reasons why we can have the R signal this time.
Now, the U.S. Fed and the European Central Bank both made an abrupt U-turn from their previous tightened monetary policy. And to this, many banks in many countries are following suit. How do you forecast the direction of future financial policies of the major economies?
I think after seeing the new financial policy adopted by the USA government, the other countries, particularly major economies, try to follow the US decision. That means that they just try to they prepare for the expected economic difficulties. The global economy start to be slowed down, and then U.S. economy has been in a bad shape in the recent several months. So the USA and other major countries try to solve these economic challenges through the financial policy. That means the lower the interest rates. Through those kind of efforts, they could provide more money to the market. That means that if the more money comes into the market, then people will have more chances to get the money from their jobs or from their business activities. If they gain some more money, they can spend more money. Then the more money will go to the industries. So this is kind of the positive circle. I think following the USA financial policy, I think major economies will follow the same policy direction. If I give you a figure, actually, in case of Japan, they decide to keep the current minus interest rate policy. As you know very well, the interest rate in Japan is minus 0.1%. Right. And then how about European Union? European Central Bank, they announced that they will keep the 0% interest rate. That means, as I already explained, the major economies will follow the policy direction of the United States.
Now to the unresolved trade friction between China and the U.S. The two sides are set to resume trade talks this week in Beijing and next week in Washington. What are the main sticking points this time around?
Well, I think the major issues on the agenda at the trade negotiation between two countries will be maybe protection of intellectual property rights. USA government has criticized the Chinese government. Chinese government does not respect, does not, make every effort to keep the intellectual property rights owned by the USA, the industries. Another one is that the Chinese government has been criticized by the USA government because Chinese government has forced the USA industries to transfer their high technologies to the local industries, Chinese industries, whenever the companies try to enter into China. This is kind of some policy led by Chinese government to exploit the advantages owned by the American the industries, by the Chinese government. So the USA government has, very strongly asked the Chinese government to change their, those kind of policies in order to promote the mutual trade in the future. I think, the Chinese government has changed their stance a little bit towards these agendas, such as increase the imports of the American products. Chinese government has said, they will make every effort to increase the import more products from USA. Another one is that the Chinese government also emphasized that they are ready to discuss about the currency policy. Chinese government has been criticized to devalue the Chinese yuan to promote the Chinese exports to USA. These two issues may be, already Chinese government has announced that they are ready to discuss about this one with more positive manners. So what I mean is that the basic the approaches taken by the two governments toward the trade war have been very different because the USA has emphasized the issues which I already explained, and then on the part of Chinese government, it is quite difficult for them to take it at one time. So what they can do at the moment is they do just try to find a solution to which they can reach an agreement relatively easier than the other things, such as increase the imports of the American products and settle down the currency issues dispute between two governments.
Well, it sounds like the U.S. and China have a lot to discuss this time around as well on the table. Now, U.S. President Trump lately got rid of the Russian interference, Russian election interference cloud hanging over him. Could this be an external factor that could affect Washington's trade talks with China?
I think so, to some degree, because the USA will have more leverage power at the negotiation with China, because by solving this scandal, overcoming this scandal, maybe Trump can be re-elected. And then Trump can focus more on the trade negotiation with China. So on the part of China, I think according to the report, the Chinese government tried to, be more aggressively solve the trade issues, trade conflict with the USA. That means that USA could have more leverage power at the trade talk with China. So definitely it can be one of the external factors affecting the trade negotiation between USA and China.
So the investigation results gave Mr. Trump the upper hand in U.S.-China trade deal. Now, North Korea increasingly appears to be solidifying its ties with its socialist neighbors amid the Pyongyang-Washington nuclear impasse. Could this have an effect on China's trade talks with the U.S.?
Yes, to some degree. Because the USA government has emphasized more involvement of the China in solving North Korean denuclearization issue. Owing to the strengthened cooperative relations between North Korea and China, maybe USA government said, okay, please play more role in solving the North Korean issues, then we will make some concession at the trade talk with with China. Of course, we cannot prove how much, we cannot say how much the effects there will be at the negotiation between two countries at the moment. But I think To some degree, definitely, the North Korean issue can be a factor affecting the stance of the North Korea, the China and USA participating at the negotiation for trade problems.
Now, global credit ratings agency Moody's gave a positive outlook for South Korean firms. It said it expects most Korean firms will have a stable credit quality this year. Can we keep up the optimism despite the China-U.S. trade deal risk?
I think we have to wait a little bit more, wait and see, because right now the Korean economy seems to face more challenges than we have. All the macroeconomic indices is telling that Korean economy is facing more challenges. Let me give you an example. Since December, the Korean export started to decrease, and the also unemployment rate seems to be not very low relatively. So I think these macroeconomic indexes of Korea is telling that Korean economy is not in a good shape at the moment. And even KDI, which is one of the representative Korean think tank, Economic Research Institute, they forecast the Korean economic growth rate in 2019. They actually lowered by 0.1%. They said that it would be 2.6%. But one thing, also the trade war between USA and China could be another negative factor. As you know very well, USA is #1 economy in the world, China is #2. At the same time, these two countries are the largest and second largest trading partners for Korea. So because of trade war, certainly protectionistic trade environments has been spread over the world, and then the Korean economy, which is heavily reliant on external trade, it seems to be certainly one of the negative factors for the Korean economy. So considering all of these kind of things, uncertainty of the economy in the future, which Korean economy is facing, seems to be a little bit increasing. But right now, the Korean government is making every effort. To overcome these kind of challenges, the Korean government has make every effort to diversify our trading relations in the name of New Southern policy or New Northern policy. I think to some degree, these policies resulted in some positive effects on the Korean economy. So there are some positive factors, negative factors, more negative factors to be frank with you, but we have to wait and see.
One last question before I let you go. We only have about 30 seconds left. The IMF recently pointed out that South Korea needs an extra budget worth some 9 trillion won to support its economic growth. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's an appropriate recommendation because, when we, global economy, faced the financial crisis in 2008, almost every country tried to solve this one through fiscal policy. Fiscal policy means all policy affecting the government income and spending. Government want to spend more money through more money will go to the market. As I already explained, then the people will have more income. If they have more income, they want to spend more money, then more money will go to the private sector. So I think the positive circle can be formed through the fiscal policy. In this context, increase of to have the extra budget, the Korean government can play a more important role in promoting the slowdown Korean economy.
All right, Dr. Shin, thank you so much for coming in
today. My pleasure.